If you're new to the channel, my name's Neil, and if you're not new to the channel, welcome back. A lot of us own track saws. Basically the best thing since sliced toast as far as I'm concerned, making stuff. It's a bit easier than the old table saw or whatever else you're using. I've got a very cheap track saw, and I was thinking the other day, you get tired of actually measuring every piece twice, 3 times to make sure that you've got it square, and then going back and double checking your measurements that you didn't completely stuff up. Well, went online and of course look for those little add-ons you get to help you line the track up, and I thought there's got to be an easier way of doing this. So I had a hunt around and I thought, well, you can always set it up with a square, but you've got to go and find the square, you've got to go and check it, move it, and I thought, how many squares do I have? I have 100 around, and I found a very old one of mine, and I thought, why can't I make some sort of adapter and clamp that to the side of the saw and make it adjustable? Okay, so then I went down the route of trying to find a bolt which was close enough to fit down the track down here, which I'll grab. Found a couple of different bolts and I thought, well, that'll do. All I got to do is grind off the sides, you know, just a little bit so they go down the track a little bit easier. Then I can find some sort of a nut and a plate, which I found a piece of plate, so I'm going to fix it across like that onto there. A packer underneath it, and then either screw it, bolt it, rivet it, whatever it is to get it onto this, and put a piece of angle on the other side of it so it's got plenty of room to grab hold of the piece of wood. And I was just going through all the bits and pieces, and I thought, right, I've set the mill up, which is hiding over there, and I was just getting ready to start taking a little bit off the side of some of the nuts there, and I thought, I've got so much crap there, I need to move some of this crap out of the way. As you do, you know, it's a workshop, you chuck stuff there. And I come across a cardboard box, which I could not remember for the life of me what was in it. So, pull the box out, and lo and behold, for another project which I haven't started on, so we'll steal from that for the moment, I came across these. These 8mm T-head, and it fits perfectly in the track, almost. It's going to need a little bit of modification. So I thought, well, why don't I use those? They're just a smidgen tight. Well, that won't stop it with a bit of a file, I reckon. So this one fits in, so this one must have a bit of a dag on it. So, oh yeah, I can see they didn't clean the sides. There's a bit of a bulge here where they welded on it, so maybe another one in the kit will do. I think they used to call them toilet flange nuts or bolts originally. So I assume I got these on Amazon. See, that one's tight as well, but it goes in. So look, a bit of a file over the top of them, they'll all be fine. So what I'm going to end up doing is, I've got these 2 bits of aluminium. I've got one set up in the drill over there to drill a hole through so that it can slide down it. I've got handles by the glaw, and the thread goes right through the end of them. So these are all off Amazon. I'll probably end up cutting the threads down a little bit because you don't really want that much. I found a scrap bit of wood which looks, yeah, it's not quite straight. Maybe the wood wasn't straight to begin with, and I've used the track saw to cut it off. And I'll use this as a packer underneath it, and I will fix the old square to it. Well, now this should hopefully eliminate a lot of those guesses and mismeasurements and things like that. So I'm going to cut the video there for the moment. I'll go drill a couple of holes and we'll start assembling it. So I'll see you back in a minute. Okay, so there it actually is. It's all assembled. I'll assemble it off camera. I'm sure you don't really want to see that. These stainless steel, whatever I've got in the drawer. Basically, I would have gone with countersunk if I could have found some countersunks and just countersunk them into the steel a little bit further, even if I had to grind their heads down a bit. I've got a miscellaneous box of wing nuts, which seems to work, so that's what goes through there. Hello, doggy. Aluminium there. Wood is a spacer. I probably will put a piece of aluminium across here. I did find a scrap piece, which I think I'm going to put across like that, so you can't really make a mistake then. So I'll put some more bolts through there. I'm going to use some countersunks bolts, but at the moment I can't find any, so I might actually have to take a trip down to Bunnings. So this is all made with bits and pieces just floating around. These are handy. I'm going to cut them off because they're just way too long and the saw will probably bash them as it goes past. And I'm not sure how well it's going to go through there. That's a very good point. So we'll have to have a look at that and make sure it clears all that. And if it doesn't, then I'll have to get some wing nuts, standard wing nuts to go on there so it clears it a bit better. But there it is. Very, very quick, very, very simple. Utilising an old square, some scrap aluminium, scrap wood, and my very, very cheap Detroit track. And I've got the Detroit saw floating over there, and I'll actually double check that whether it goes on or not. I don't know if I've got room to put it anywhere at the moment. I'll try it there. And of course now I won't be able to get to the saw because it's over here. Here it is, the Detroit saw. So nope, it hits it. Oh shit. So finished, reassembled, cut the excess of the bolts off, had to slice stuff up. The knobs are too big to clear the actual lip of the track saw. The little features that keep it from tipping out of the track, that was actually hitting the plastic knobs themselves. It was literally, so it wouldn't go past it. Okay, so I've had to go to wing nuts, found my box of wing nuts, know where that actually is. Put wing nuts on these as well, so everything's okay. Did make one minor mistake, easily changed. Put the right angle on the wrong end. Didn't see that until I actually went to put the saw on it, realised it's on the wrong end. So now it's at the right end. As you can see, it's all together. It's relatively simple. I'll swap it around so you can actually see if the camera can focus. I should probably change the focusing on it. So we have the aluminium plate, which is fixed to the guide here with the T-bolts, whatever you want to call them. I think they were originally flange bolts, that's what they call them. So I've got two of those in there, found two that actually slide reasonably well. They were 8mm, by the way. They slid in there reasonably well. Wing nuts there. I have put a washer underneath the wing nut because I found that the wing nuts were starting to bite into the aluminium, but putting a washer in between helps it to rotate a bit better. There doesn't appear to be any gap down the back. I swing around like that. I cannot put my fingernail between it. I can't see anything, so I'm guessing if this is hard up against that, then this should be reasonably square. Take it back a little bit because the camera seems to be struggling just there. And that's about it. Is it me or is it really soft? We might have to change the focusing on this thing. 1 sec, I'll be back. Right, hopefully that's a bit better. Okay, so have you got it now, camera? Right. So as you can see, I have checked it all. It all seems to be nice and straight and true. Wing nuts are now tightened up. This all seems to be pretty good. I've got the aluminium riveted on the back. It is about flinging around this way. Sorry, light. You can see now that it is actually, I'll just smack the light yet again, riveted to the very, very, very front. And I can't go that way, it's better. Right, so riveted to the very, very front edge there. I can't feel anything overhanging, so that should be pretty good. So time will tell, and I've got some plywood to cut up. I've got to cut up a fair amount of ply for a drawer I've got to make, what I want to make, and I have to make, a drawer I want to make for my table saw, which is down there underneath the bench. I got a bit to cut up. I want to make sure that I get the most out of the sheet. I want to make sure that I waste as little as possible, because plywood, you think plywood's expensive in America, plywood in Australia is astronomical. So I came across a couple of very cheap sheets second hand, picked them up. They had only two there. I thought, well, for the price I was paying for them, I'll just get both, even if I don't use the second one for the time being. The price I pay for the two sheets, it's cheaper than what I could buy from the big warehouse we have here with a red hammer on the front. Okay, so that was a very, very quick video on making it. You probably didn't see a lot of it, any of the work behind it. It's such just cheap and easy, quick job. I didn't think it was really worthwhile showing you how it was done step by step. It is fairly simple, as you can see. You know, it's just up against that, two holes, aluminium on the other side, into the channel, piece of wood as a packer. I did have to sand the packer so as to make sure that it finished below the edge on this side, even though the rubber sticks out just a little bit, because if I did that, then I would know that these should in theory be just level with these, which they seem to be. This one's a little bit proud, but if that's hanging off the end of the table, it's not an issue. Only this one I have to worry about, and that's fine. So that's where I'm up to at the moment. So a couple of hours worth of work, and we've got a square for our track saw, which hopefully will be wonderful. And it saved $70, $80 for one bought in Australia. If you're buying it off AliExpress, one that sits out, I think 200mm is around about $45 plus delivery, and they're whacking another $22 on it for delivery. So you're looking at around about $65, $70 from AliExpress even. So 2 hours worth of work, an old square, a couple of scrap bits of aluminium I have floating around. I do have quite a bit of scrap stuff floating around. The sort of jobs that I have done in my past, they always have scrap bits left around. So anyway, here we are. Okay, hope you enjoy it. Bye.